the epic story of the news camera.
And, that wasn't going to happen again. I still think, we're fairly evenly matched. Dallas is obviously a little better team than us, but if we play like a team, I still think we can beat them.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, so there's Lindy Ruff, who, 24 hours ago, people thought, man, this guy's, his team's got no chance. Toast. They were outshot again tonight, 31-18. Dallas outshooting them 13-2 in the third period, but they hung on to win 2-1. By the way, at the end of the game, there were 4 penalties handed out there. Langenbrunner and Reed of Dallas each got 2-minute minors. Warner got a roughing minor, and Dixon Ward got a double roughing minor. They don't carry on. They just sort of add to your penalty minute total, and that's about it. Let's bring in Elliotte Friedman, who's standing by live at the Marine Midland Arena. Elliotte, pretty noisy place, I'm sure, there tonight. What were your thoughts on the game, and maybe what happened at the end of the second and the end of the third? How's that going to boil over into a Game 5 in Dallas?
The amazing thing about the way these playoffs have gone, Mark, is that every time it appears as if Dominik Hasek gets out of his net and raises the anger of everybody in the series, things back off. In the Toronto series against Buffalo in the Stanley Cup semifinal, the Eastern final, we talked a lot about whether or not things would really go over the top in Game 5 and again previously that in Game 4 because of the way Hasek came out of his net and the way the Maple Leafs bumped him. Of course, nothing major happened. Prior to Games 2 and 3 in this series, we were talking about the same things because Hasek went out of his net, got bumped a few times, and things really calmed down. Now they're back hot and alive again because Hasek left his net. I don't think you're going to really see too much happen. You saw the referees. They tried to even out all of the penalties. The Buffalo players, while frustrated at the runs Hasek is taking, they know they can't afford to take stupid penalties. And to be perfectly honest, especially when Hasek got hit by Nieuwendyk in the second period, he didn't look that bad. Somebody who might look pretty bad tonight is the losing coach, Ken Hitchcock. Let's listen to what he's got to say.
Team, they would skate off as the winners. Did that happen tonight, do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think they outworked us in some areas, like we outworked them in some areas. I think that they did a good job in front of their net, a real good job. We didn't get any loose puck. We had a lot of loose pucks there, but they won a lot of those battles. And, we weren't able to maintain, I think, some territorial play until really the third period. And it was a game. I mean, we had a couple of individual mistakes that gave them their 2 goals. But I think from our standpoint, the area that we probably weren't as strong as we were, say, in Game 2 and Game 3 was the front of their net, the slot area. We put a lot of pucks into those areas, but they battled them out. And I thought that their defensemen held up good tonight. They were able to make some adjustments with a couple days off on moving the puck, and they held us up really well from getting in, and so it gave them a little more time to move it out. So we weren't able to maintain that territorial play that we have for the last couple games.
Kenny, how much of this was just Hasek is playing goal and how active he was around the goal, basically taking charge?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that. I mean, he was good. Eddie was good too. I don't think that Hasek was the factor in the game. I think both goalies were good, but I think that when it came to defending, they were able to, for at least 2 periods, defend as hard or even at times better than we did in those critical areas. I thought Hasek was good, and he made some great saves, but you know what, so did Eddie in the second period. He made 2 or 3 big saves there too, so it was a game. I mean, it was a real good game. It was well played by both sides. I thought that, they made some line changes and changed some checking assignments that early in the game had some impact, and then we made some adjustments later on that worked a little bit.
Hit a couple of mistakes by your defense, though. It bounced over Chambers, and then Ludwig coughed it up.
Yeah, the Chambers one was unfortunate because we had a great cycle rotation going, and his stick hooked in the boards, I guess, and Sanderson's a guy that's pretty fleet of foot, and he's good one-on-one on breakaways, so we knew we were in trouble when it was him going in.
Ludwig?
Ludwig's was just, that that was a D-to-D pass that just kind of got flippy, and you know, what are you going to do? I mean, everybody makes individual mistakes like that. You're not going to. Those guys have played a lot of minutes and played well for us in this series.
Did you realize probably before the game this would be Buffalo's best game of the series? If they were going to play an all-out game, this was going to be this one?
Yeah, I think that, you know, when you've got 2 days off and you're taking the hits that they were the last couple of days, which, you know, it was kind of humorous because we, as coaches, and I think Lindy probably feels the same way, the series is kind of just getting started, and already people had it ending. And it was funny because when it was 2-1 in the 2 series before that we'd played in, we were kind of talking in terms that, you know, the series is really just getting underway. We haven't even reached, now we've kind of reached the halfway point or a little bit beyond, and it's a best of 3, and we've got home ice back, but we viewed the series after 3 games as just beginning, and a lot of people had these people ending. I don't think you get to this level and you win as many games to get to this level if you don't have a tremendous amount of character stored up there, and I thought both teams showed a lot of it, them early and then us late.
2 more questions?
Hitch, you showed some frustration on the bench after the Ward goal. Did you like the way the game was going until that point? Did you like what was happening to your team?
Ward's goal is that the one on Ludwig? Yeah, we were really playing well at that time, and we had real good control, and the feeling on the bench was, and you could hear the guys talk, and look, it's really coming, we've really got momentum. We had 4 shifts in a row that were great shifts. Carbonell missed the goal there. Hasek made a great save on the cross ice play, and then Nieuwendyke's line had a good shift. McDonald's line had a good shift, and then we just gave it kind of easily, and it took the wind out of our sails a little bit.
Was this Ed Belfour's best game for you tonight, though, over here, Coach? You know, he came with those big saves in the second period, and we saw 12 shots in Game 3. Was it important for him to have that kind of game tonight for you?
Well, I think he's just playing really well. I think I think both guys here are playing outstanding. I mean, in a normal case, these could be 5-4 games, the way that how hard the forwards are working in front of each team's goaltender. And I feel like we get it. You know, I'm sure Buffalo feels the same way. We think every night that Eddie plays for us, he gives us a chance to win. We feel that, and I'm sure Buffalo feels the same way. We feel like with Belfour in goal, that he can win the game by himself at times, and he's shown that ability in these playoffs. And he made 3 great saves in the second period, you know, when we were kind of on our heels a little bit. And Hasek did the same thing in the third period. He made 2 or 3 no-brainers. You know, we thought Reed's goal was in, and I mean, that's what you need if you're going to win here.
Thank you, Coach. Jeff Sanderson and Dixon Ward will be in shortly.
So the Stars lose game number 4 by a final score of 2-1. The series is all tied up at 2 games apiece, heading back to Reunion Arena in Dallas. Just moments ago, the Sabres' Mike Pekka talked about the game with reporters.
Well, 5-on-5, we did a great job all game. I thought, really limiting their chances. And despite the fact that we didn't create a lot of offense there in the third period, guys were still confident that, we weren't really sitting back. We just played a strong defensive period and didn't really give them much. And, guys, like I said, I think the big thing, obviously, Randy Cunningworth added a little spark to our lineup. And I just think overall we were able to use 4 lines. We used the Primo line quite a bit on the Medano line, and they did a terrific job for us.
Mike, when you play with emotion, can emotion beat the system? I mean, not every time necessarily, but when you guys play with emotion, can you break down the system the way you did tonight consistently?
Well, yeah, if you're doing it, if you're using it in the right way, I think if your emotions enabling you to work hard and fight through holdups, going on the forecheck, and emotions helping you dig down a little bit extra with that second effort on the back check. Those are areas that emotion's going to really help you, and I think guys used it the proper way today.
Michael, is that third period one of those you kind of take a gulp at the end and go, how did we survive that? I mean, outshot 13-2. They really had some good chances.
Well, I disagree with you. I don't think they had a whole lot of good chances in the third period. I think for the most part we kept a lot of their opportunities to the outside. If there was a puck scrambling in front, we did a good job tying guys up. I think the disappointing part is we just want to make sure down the stretch we're winning a little bit more face-offs. But guys did a great job getting out, blocking shots, and doing the job that way. Mike, you scored.
I tell you what, I love these reporters who, when a guy's talking, all they do is nod. Like, they understand exactly what he's saying. That's the mark of a good reporter. Mark of a good host is to get to the podium. So Dixon Ward and Jeff Sanderson speaking at this moment. Let's go there live.
Consequently, we got cut out there in long shifts, but I think everyone just going as hard as they could tonight, and 30, 40 seconds is about all you can go.
Dixon, I wanted both you and Jeff just to talk about both goals being unassisted and the fact that they were on turnovers and how you took advantage of that.
Well, really, that was the, two rare mistakes that their defense make out there, and we were lucky that we finally capitalized on them. I don't know if it was the ice or just mishandling the puck, but, it's nice to capitalize on the mistakes, so few that they do make.
Jeff, this was your best game of the series so far?
Me?
Personal, the team overall?
Well, it's right up there with game one, no doubt. I thought for the most part we had momentum for the majority of the game, even though in the third period there they took it away and came at us pretty hard, but for the most part we had the momentum of the game.
Question for both guys. What is it about Game 4 in particular that brings out the best in you guys? You've yet to lose one in the series.
Well, I don't think it makes any difference what game it is. It's just a matter of rebounding after a subpar performance, which we've done pretty good throughout the entire playoffs. We've had a few games that we weren't happy with, and we found a way to, get back to playing the way we want to play. And this was the biggest game of our lives, no question about it. We don't win this game, we're in trouble, big trouble. So we had no choice but to throw everything out there.
For both,
Sorry.
After.
Yeah.
Dixon, right here. There have been a couple of stories in the paper. You've been a well-spoken guy throughout the playoffs and in this series. Do you feel as though it was important for you to achieve something like a winning goal in a game that turned the game around as it did tonight?
It's only important for me to help the team. I don't care what you people say or anybody says about me or my personality or what. That doesn't matter to me. I don't think anybody that knows me knows I really don't care about that. I just care about trying to help this team, and if I'm the one who's well spoken or getting quoted more than anybody else, and that's not my fault. That's your fault. So take it for what it's worth.
I love it.
That's a great response.
That's excellent. Hey, I just want to help the team win. What do I care if I got the winner, or Jim got the winner, or Bill got the winner? Hey.
Doesn't matter. Let's go back now to the arena in Buffalo. Elliotte Friedman standing by with Tony Herkus.
Thank you very much, Greg. And Tony, first of all, you've got a nice new welt on the top of your right eye. Where did that come from?
Just a hit in front of the net, and the expectations of a hockey game, or it's going to be rough out there, and you're going to get it.
This was quite a physical hockey game. We saw it turn ugly, especially with Hasek at the end of the second and third period. Are you guys worried at all that by doing that to Dominic, they're going to start it with Ed Belfour?
Like I say, he comes out of his net. Sometimes he plays our bodies. If he just plays the puck, that's fine. We still have to go after his stick and try to get the puck from him. But if he just wants to throw out his hip or, he's, I guess, another player out there. No doubt they're going to come after Eddie, but that's the price you got to pay, I guess.
Tony, this morning you guys talked about a chance to deliver a real knockout punch to Buffalo. Must feel like you've really missed an opportunity here tonight.
Well, anytime you got a chance to go up 3-1 in a series, you got to take advantage of it. Buffalo's a great team, and we knew it wasn't going to be easy, and they proved it tonight, and it's going to be a great series here.
Just like the Colorado series, you were up 2-1, but you couldn't hold them down.
Yeah, same thing, and it's a letdown, but it's 2-2, and we got to regroup and get one at home, hopefully.
And finally, Tony, you were on the top line tonight with Medano and Lettinen. Do you have any indication about whether or not you'll be back there for Game 5 or Brett Hull will?
I have no idea. I don't know what's going on with Brett. We'll have to see tomorrow and Thursday.
All right, thank you very much, Tony. See you in Dallas.
Thank you.
That is Stars forward Tony Herkus with the top line tonight. Medano and Lettinen, they scored a power play goal, but it wasn't enough as the Stars were beaten 2-1. Let's go back to Dixon Ward and Jeff Sanders.
You can see where I could get the puck by him. Fortunately, it was in the right angle where it went in the side of the net, so I came very close to dropping it back to Verata, who was yelling behind me. But fortunately, I just shot it, tried to get it by Ludwig, and fortunately it went in.
It's for both guys. What did it mean to this team when Hasek said before the game, you guys go, I'll be here for you in the backhand?
Well, it gave us a little boost, definitely. When Dom's, telling the team to be more aggressive, don't worry, I'll bail you out if you give up the odd man rush. But, and he did that tonight. He made some great saves for us and held us in the game in the third period. And, he's our leader back there, and we generate a lot of chances, just from him making big saves and then us going down the other way.
Dixon, Jeff, over here. Jeff briefly mentioned the ice. Was it a factor at all in Ludwig's giveaway to you?
I don't know. It was not very late into the second period. I don't know what the time of the goal was, but I think it wasn't even half over the second period, so it may have been. The puck was rolling when he got it. And I knew it was rolling because Pex had flipped it down the ice, and I was just trying to track it down and hope for, just try to steer the play one direction or another, and it just flipped over a stick, and that happens to everybody, and it happens to the best of them. So unfortunately for him, but obviously fortunately for me, that I was able to get it.
Last question.
Dixon, you didn't throw your hands in the air, and that looked like a celebration of a 6-goal and a 7-1 game as opposed to the game that made the difference between a 2-2 and a 3-1 series. Can you explain the lack of that?
No. Someday I'll explain it to you. I was too tired. Try to be less flamboyant. Just trying to do my job.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Best way to answer one of those questions, just say no when you don't want to answer it. That's
Especially if you don't know the answer.
That's right. Let's go back to the marina. Elliotte Friedman standing by with Stu Barnes. Elliotte?
Thank you very much, Greg. And what a line tonight at times. Yourself, Primo, and of course Brian Holzinger. You guys ended up together, not always by design, but there, and Sanderson as well. There was a lot of speed between the 3 and 4 of you.
Yeah, our team's a team that plays with. We all play with a lot of different guys, up front and forward, and it seems to help mixing it up a little bit.
Jeff Sanderson was a guy who was on a different line, and some people might have taken a look at what he had to go through in the past couple of days as a demotion. How do you guys prevent yourselves from getting down when you get moved from one line to the other?
You know what? Again, like I said, I think that we all play equal time, and we just go out and give it our best every night, and we all look at the changes as positive things because hopefully that's going to stir something up and maybe go out and get a goal.
Tonight, maybe your best game of the series.
Yeah, we played well tonight. We played well at both ends, and that's something that we need to do. We need to be our absolute best to beat these guys. I mean, this is a great hockey team, and game 5 is going to be a tough one. We're going to need to come up with a better effort in Game 5.
Stu, how much did Hasek's declaration that you guys should be more aggressive and I'll put you on my backs have to do with the performance tonight?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it was. Who knows? That's a good question. Dom's excited. He loves playing. He's quite he's a real competitor, and it was great to hear him talk like that. That we can just go out and play and go ahead.
And we've been at this point in the playoffs before, looking like things are going to explode because Hasek's getting hit. But again, is this a situation where things just die down when the game starts?
Well, probably. I think that a game is. These games are so important. I think that you really got to focus on hockey and play hockey and play your best hockey, and that's really all you can do.
All right, Stu. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
That is Sabre forward Stu Barnes. Tonight, the Sabres defeat Dallas 2-1 to tie the Stanley Cup final at 2 games apiece. Guys?
All right, thanks, Elliotte. Going back to what Ken Hitchcock said while he was addressing the media, when it was 2-1, a lot of people were jumping off the bandwagon in Buffalo, but he was telling his guys, and they all knew it, the series is just getting started at 2-1, which is a big difference from when everybody tries to analyze each and every game, and then you get it even further and analyze each and every period. You just can't do that.
I think, if you go to any series in any sport, the team that's down 2-1, for example, in a best of 7, or best of 5 for that matter, the team that's down 2-1, fans and the media never have anything good to say about that team because they probably just lost the previous game, right? So how can you possibly think that they're going to come back? And therein lies the problem. It's 7 games. It's not based on one game. If it was based on one game, Buffalo would have won the series after winning game number 1. And I'm sure, in fact, we read and heard the things they were saying in Dallas after the opener. Oh, my God, what's happening with the Stars? They lost to Buffalo. Remember what Elliotte mentioned, that if they expected a sweep in Dallas, and if they weren't going to get it, then it would have been all for naught. Well, they lost the opening game. Did the Dallas fans stop cheering for the Stars? Did the Dallas writers and broadcasters say, that's it, Dallas is finished? No, but a lot of them probably wanted to say that, so this happens probably all the time. Elliott's got another guest.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Mark. I'm here with Eric Rasmussen of the Sabres, a guy who played half the season in Rochester with Randy Cunneyworth, and tonight, boy, did he give you guys a big lift with the Sabres.
Tremendous. I think Randy's experience, and just his work ethic came through tonight. It's good for the guys to see that. He goes out and grinds every shift, and he makes the smart plays, and maybe everybody fed off that a little bit tonight.
Eric, in the past couple of days, there were a lot of the media and a lot of the public who were burying you guys. Did you ever lose the confidence?
No, I think that maybe, we maybe sit back and laugh about that, and maybe it motivates us a little more. I think, we've surprised everybody throughout the whole playoffs. No one ever thought we were going to win anything. We were the underdog in each series so far. We just know, we believe as a team. We really believe in the locker room that we can do what we put our minds to.
What was the difference tonight for the so much more open ice?
I think, the coaching staff did a great job breaking down tape, why we weren't getting things accomplished, And a lot of it came down to, just being more gritty and actually wanting to surround the puck and to want the puck a little more in the offensive zone. I think when you don't create chances in the offensive zone, the play really seems lopsided on one side and you feel like you're running around. Tonight, it was a little more opened up because of that.
Now as you head back into Dallas, if there is one concern, in the last 3 games, you only have 9 shots in the third period. What are you guys going to have to do to prevent these third periods from being such scares for you and your goaltender?
Well, that's when we get a lead, that's the way it seems a lot of the third periods go. I think we're accustomed to playing that type of third period. We did give up a few shots, but they were mostly perimeter shots. We didn't give them very many good chances. And maybe that's our way of winning the game. To ourselves, but when we have to open things up, I think we can do it really well. Our defensemen know how to join the rush really good. We got a couple good guys who can skate the puck, and we're not too worried about it.
All right, Eric, congratulations. We'll see you down in Dallas.
Thank you very much.
That is Sabres forward Eric Rasmussen, his line mate tonight, Randy Cunneyworth, a line mate with him in the American Hockey League, one of the game's biggest stars, as Buffalo defeats Dallas 2-1 to tie the Stanley Cup final up at 2 games apiece, guys.
All right, Elliotte, we'll come back with plenty more post-game reaction live from Marine Midland Arena next, right here on Headline Central.
This Molson Canadian Playoff Special Report is brought to you in part by Gatorade. Is it in you? By AT&T Canada, the network the world works on. And by Ford.
Somewhere in the Rockies, 400 Canadians from St. John's to Vancouver are going to join Great Big C. And a special guest for a Great Big Molson Canadian house party. And someone could keep the house. Here's where we get Canadian. Look for the black bottle and specially marked cases of Molson Canadian. Must be legal drinking age, no purchase necessary.
If you got a problem, don't care what it is. If you need a hand, I can show you this. I can help. I got 2 strong arms. I can help. It would sure do me good to do you good. Let me help.
F-Series, Canada's best-selling line of trucks for 33 years. Ford, for now, forever.
Hi, I want a junior bacon cheeseburger, but I want it made fresh with 2 whole strips of bacon, and I want it for $1.39.
It's always about you, isn't it? You. What about me? I'm the one who has to say, no, we don't have that. Go to Wendy's.
Wendy's Junior Bacon Cheeseburger is hot and juicy because it's made fresh when you order it. And with a 99-cent hot baked potato, it's a great meal.
Maybe you have a Caesar side salad for $1.39?
I have a fantasy, too. I want to act on Broadway. Stella!
Wendy's Super Value Menu. Anybody can copy the price, but nobody can copy the food.
All right, welcome back to our live post-game coverage of the Sabres' victory tonight over the Dallas Stars, evening the series at 2 games apiece. Elliotte Friedman is live in Buffalo with a very happy Brian Holzinger of the Sabres.
Thank you very much, Mark. The second Hobie Baker winner I've had the pleasure of interviewing tonight, along with Tony Herkus, is Brian Holzinger, and a much happier Brian Holzinger tonight after he and his line mates helped key a big 2-1 victory. When you saw Jeff Sanderson get the puck on that wing and that breakaway, what was going through your mind?
Well, he's a guy that certainly gets his fair share of breakaways, and I think what we've been trying to do with Jeff is make sure he tries to fake the shot and put a move on the goalie. And tonight, for the first time, he did that and capitalized on it. So that's a big tribute to him, and we look forward to having him score some more that way.
The only drawback is Belfour's not going to fall for that again.
Yeah, you're right. But you know, again, we're going to take our chances when we get them. And you know, again, he made a great move on the play.
Brian, it seemed as if in the past couple days, a lot of the media and the fans had jumped off the Sabre bandwagon. Had you guys felt that you were a bit more isolated than you had been prior to Game 3?
Well, I mean, we continually we're the underdog, and you know, I think if you look back at the beginning of this series, no one really gave us a chance to win one hockey game, and now we're tied at 2-2 going back to Dallas, and you know, this team seems to thrive on the underdog role, and you know, right now we're confident, and right now it's anybody's series.
There had been also a lot of talk about the first line, Pekka Parada and Dixon Ward, especially Ward, who was the only Sabre to practice on Sunday. He had been really down. Must have been a tremendous lift for you guys to see what they did tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's a line that continually plays against the opponent's top players, and tonight they were matched up against Nieuwendyk, and you know, they do a great job defensively, but they also pride on their offense, and you know, I think the three of them were a little bit disappointed in their offensive production this series, and they wanted to get on the scoreboard without sacrificing their defensive play, and tonight they did a great job.
Any concern again about the hitting Hasek is taking?
Well, I mean, there's always a concern. I mean, he's our star player. He's the backbone of this hockey team, and you know, we don't want him to get injured in that type of way. So we're going to have to do a better job of trying to box out and make sure that they can't take liberties at him.
All right, Brian, congratulations. We'll see you in Game 5 in Dallas.
Okay, thank you. That
is Sabre forward Brian Holzinger, who tonight, along with Jeff Sanderson and Stu Barnes, a terrific line as the Sabres came alive to defeat Dallas 2-1, tying the Stanley Cup final at 2 games apiece, guys.
All right, Elliotte, thanks very much. And, you know, I'll tell you, the way this series has gone, outside of what's gone on the ice, to me it seems that it's been very calm, except for what Dixon Ward had to say to a couple of reporters, when it comes to the media trying to do their job and the players being available for interviews. And we'll bring Elliotte in again from Buffalo. Elliotte, from your standpoint, has this been a good series to cover or a difficult one, considering the amount of time that these players and coaches have to give the media on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I think it's been a lot of fun, and I know it's been a lot of fun. You know, hockey players generally have the reputation of being the easiest to deal with of athletes in all sports, and I think that's pretty much true, especially in the Sabres case. You know, the Sabres don't get a lot of attention for a long time, as you and they know. They've been regarded as Hasek and a bunch of average players, as Martin Rusinski said last year. But, you know, for that reason, they enjoy all of this. The Stars have a lot more pressure on them. For example, tonight, it took a long time for any of their key players to come out and speak. A number of them were very curt and left. I think they realize the pressure's all on them. And, you know, they're feeling the glare. They understand that, you know, this is the year the President's Trophy was not enough. They came out here to win the Stanley Cup, and they, I think, are in a bit more of a series than they expected. Now, they've always said they don't do everything easy. They had a 2-1 lead against Colorado. They blew it and fell behind 3-2. They had that huge triple overtime game against Edmonton. They led St. Louis 2-0 and then dropped 2 overtime games in a row. They realize they can come back, and they're confident that they can come back, but they also know that if they find a way to lose this Stanley Cup final, that it will be seen as a major upset, and it will just completely ruin their season. The regular season, getting here doesn't matter. They have to win the Cup, and you can see that pressure on them.
Keep in mind that this Stanley Cup final is being covered like no other Stanley Cup final in the past, given the live media attention as a direct result of what we're doing here at Headline Sports.
They're all following us, yeah.
Where everybody just is, the demand on the players is certainly more than ever the case. These guys are being asked to do more and more interviews than ever before.
Yeah, that's certainly true. There's no question about that. And also don't forget that unlike Canada, where there's one national network that's covering this series live, in the States there are 2. ESPN and Fox split the games, so that means there's even more pressure on players to do interviews with both because they're rights holders. So that certainly makes a big difference. And also, you know, the Buffalo Sabres, just for the people who've never been in the Marine Midland Arena, the Buffalo Sabres visitors dressing room is the best in the league. It is the largest visitors dressing room in the league. And still, it just seems totally swamped by the amount of media here. So, you know, there are players, you know, Brett Hull, aside from his availability yesterday, hasn't really been talking to the media that much. Eddie Belfour hasn't really been talking at all. And, you know, for a couple days in these 2 days off, one day Michael Pekka and Dixon Ward didn't make themselves available, and one day they did. So you see players trying to ease themselves of this what can be seen as a burden from time to time. But they also realize that hockey is a game, especially especially in the United States, that still needs to be promoted. And they know they've got to show their faces and make their comments because they have to promote the sport. And generally they understand that that needs to be done, and they're pretty good about it.
All right, Elliotte, by the way, you're lucky that you're covering this series, the spacious visitors' dressing room in Buffalo. I remember covering the 1990 Stanley Cup Final, Boston-Edmonton. The visitors' dressing room in Boston, at the Boston Garden, was about the size of a broom closet. And imagine, if you will, 8 or 10 camera crews, a bunch of writers, radio guys, all crowding around one guy's locker, if you want to call that, which was basically a nail stuck into a wall. I remember being on my knees and virtually being crushed, trying to get a microphone up near Charlie Huddy to get a couple of questions. So,
And most of those reporters, you don't want to be around too closely.
No. And nowadays, teams realize when you're building a new facility, you have to make it media-friendly. The press box has to be spacious. The dressing rooms have got to have plenty of room for their camera guys to roam. And remember, too, if it's not for the media coverage, less people know about the sport, less people care about the sport. So it's good for everybody. What's good for us is paying some bills. So Greg and I's outrageously high salaries can be paid. We'll have more live from Buffalo after this timeout.
This Molson Canadian Playoff Special Report is brought to you in part by Gatorade. Is it in you? By AT&T Canada, the network the world works on. And by Ford.
Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. Had enough?
Let's go.
Anything you can be, I can be greater.
First stop.
Sooner or later, I'm greater than you.
I'm not stopping.
I'm not stopping.
I'm not stopping.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
Have you talked to him yet? Mr. Hamilton? Oh, he's fine. How long has he been at it? Oh, a couple hours. Oh. Not that long then.
Ooh, flat screen Trinitron Vegas. The Sony store. Imagine that.
Welcome back to our post-game coverage of Game 4 at the Marie Midland Arena. It's the Sabres evening up the Stanley Cup Final at 2 games apiece against the Stars. Let's take you back now to Buffalo. Here's Elliotte Friedman.
Thank you very much, Greg. I'm here with defenseman Jason Woolley, and Jason, Dominik Hasek said the other day, be aggressive and I'll carry you. That happened tonight.
Well, we listened to him tonight, boy. I tell you, we did a great job of staying aggressive and not giving their forwards the easy out. And that's the one thing they've been able to do is turn around, make some straight direct passes out of their zone, and we didn't give them that tonight.
What was the difference in terms of what you were able to do against their defense tonight as opposed to Game 3?
Well, it's pretty much in-your-face hockey right now. We had to throw the kitchen sink at them tonight. We lose tonight, and we're in real tough shape. So I think everyone knew that, and in the back of their minds, everyone's probably a little nervous about it. But this is what it's all about. It's time to settle down and play your best hockey.
Any concern that you're all spent for Game 5?
No, we've got a lot left in us. We're a little younger team, and I hope it shows.
Right. Thank you very much, Jason. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, that is Jason Woolley, and we're going to be joined by another member of the Buffalo Sabres right now. And before I actually speak to Curtis, I want to tell a bit of a story. Yesterday in the media scrum in front of Curtis Brown's locker, he was asked if the players were aware of the feeling that everybody thought that the Sabres were finished, that the series was going to go down in 5 games. And your reaction was?
I don't know if I'll do it word for word, but that was the first time I heard of that. I think it came from the media maybe, and it was something that they wanted to get a story going maybe. But definitely we knew our fans were behind us. Nobody was thinking negatively. We knew it was do or die tonight. That's just how important it was, and we responded.
In this game tonight, there was a complete different performance from you guys in Game 3. You were aggressive. Until the third period, there were no frequent stops and starts. The game really flowed quickly at an unbelievable pace. What was the difference tonight?
Well, I think maybe the other night, there's a few things that went into that equation. I think one of them was we had too long of shifts, and we weren't saving our energy or using it wisely. I think tonight we played a smarter game. We rolled the 4 lines over, and when you do that, you can create a little more energy out there, and I think that's what we did.
Your line didn't figure in the goal scoring tonight, but how did it work with Juneau there instead of Sanderson?
Well, we're good. I thought, at times with the power plays and the penalty kills, we didn't get a whole lot of time to work together till the third period, and at that time, we had a good forecheck going. We had it in their end most of the time, so we created a little bit, and it was better than the other night.
One other thing you guys did, especially in the Toronto series, was go out and force the defenseman to make mistakes. Tonight, both your goals came off mistakes, one by Chambers, one by Ludwig. Do you guys get a sense that now you can pressure this Dallas defense?
Well, I think the key is they just play such a stingy style, and they keep backing each other up. I think the only way to get at them is to force them. It doesn't really matter who's out there. I think you got to go out there, and if you take their time and space away, you'll make them make plays they don't want to make.
All right, thank you very much, Curtis. We'll see you in Dallas for Game 5.
Thank you very much.
All right, that is Sabre forward Curtis Brown. His line tonight, Juneau and Chatan, not figuring in the scoring, but certainly among the more aggressive as the Sabres show a completely different side tonight, guys, than they did in Game 3.
All right, Elliotte, stay where you are. We'll take a brief timeout and come back with plenty more right after this.
This Molson Canadian Playoff Special Report is brought to you in part by Gatorade. Is it in you? By AT&T Canada, the network the world works on. And by Ford.
In 1996, 28 billion toll-free calls were made. By 2003, that number will double. Can your network cope? AT&T, the network the world works on.
If you love great food, discover Maple Leaf Prime. It's great chicken every time. Grain-fed and uniquely prepared to meet Maple Leaf's highest standards. It's the best tasting and most tender chicken you can serve, and it's good value too. That's why more and more families are serving Maple Leaf Prime brand chicken. It's always tender and always good, so it's no surprise that both these chefs insist on Maple Leaf. Maple Leaf Prime, great chicken every time.
Me? I don't have the problem.
Oh, really?
Well, sometimes.
He won't take anything. It's a problem, all right?
We tough it out.
Yeah. Laxative? I don't know.
Concerned about laxatives? You can rely on doctor-recommended Metamucil, made from 100% natural source fiber. It works on your body gently.
It's gone. Why tough it out?
If you don't have to.
Natural source Metamucil.
No problem.
Cars make lousy backpacks. That's why we don't make cars. Instead, we built more maximum cargo space into the Isuzu Rodeo than a car company would even build into a 4Runner. Lease a new Rodeo for $298 a month for 36 months with $4,600 down. Because why camp out when you could just move in?
Thanks for the tow.
What's wrong with it this time?
I think it's the air filter.
No, it could be the alternator.
Yeah. The module.
Fuel pump.
My thoughts exactly. Or everything. Just died.
I can fix it.
For guys who aren't afraid to take on any job, there's a new auto parts department at Canadian Tire. We have more brand names and selection to get you back on the road. Fast.
That wasn't so tough.
Canadian Tire. Still the right place for auto parts.
Welcome back to the extended version of Headline Central. This would be sort of like your EP version, for example. The Sabres winning 2-1 over the Dallas Stars. The series now tied 2 games apiece. They go back to Dallas for game number 5 on Thursday night. Here's what happened this evening. Let's begin with the first goal of the game. Good place to start. Mistake at the point by Sean Chambers, can't keep it in. The speedy Jeff Sanderson is away to the races, fakes the slapper, great deke to the backhand, beats Eddie Belfour, and it's 1-0. Then, on the power play, midway in the first period, Mike Modano to Jere Lehtinen in the high slot, and he buries it behind Hasek, tying the game 1-1. 7 minutes into the second period, another mistake by a Dallas defender. And as Ken Hitchcock said, hey, everybody makes mistakes. Craig Ludwig made this one. Dixon Ward not raising his stick really or anything like that, much to the dismay of a reporter who didn't know why Dixon Ward didn't throw the stick and the gloves up in the air and cheer and go crazy. But the Sabres win it by a score of 2-1. Dominik Hasek had a big night. Made the saves when he had to. 30 saves in all. Here's what he had to say after the game.
Not really. I just try to do my job. But, if you see my teammates play like that, like you see they were forechecking, they were skating better. They try to stop the puck with their bodies. They helped me a couple of times. I think it was Randy Cunnington who stopped the puck in the crease with his body. It helps me emotionally, and it pumps me up, and it helps me to play better also.
I wish we had a translator for when Dominik Hasek speaks, because I catch usually every other word. Wouldn't it be great if we could have subtitles? Here's the scoring in the first period. Jeff Sanderson's fourth, unassisted at 8:09. Letton in a power play goal from Modano and Hatcher at 10:14. Then in the second, Dixon Ward, unassisted, his seventh of the playoffs. He got bumped off the first line for a while, but he played for the most part with Pekka and Verata tonight at 7:37. No scoring in the third. The shots on goal, 31-18 Dallas, including, again, a huge third period in the shots margin, 13-2 in favor of Dallas, but Dominik Hasek made the saves when he had to. He's now 13-4 in the playoffs. Ed Belfour, whom we haven't heard a peep from post-game, 14-7 in the playoffs.
All right, let's go back to Buffalo now. Elliotte Friedman standing by. Elliotte, aside from the stellar goaltending from Dominik Hasek, are his games starting to get to the Dallas Stars just a little bit, do you think?
Oh, I think so. I think that, they refuse to admit it. This is the one thing about Dallas. They refuse to admit that a goaltender could beat them. They feel they beat Patrick Roy in the previous round, and who has a better playoff reputation than Patrick Roy with his 3 Stanley Cups? But, they are so confident in themselves, they just refuse to believe that they could lose to one particular player. They will always say, we should have had more traffic. We should have raised the puck more. We should have had a better presence there. We should have, screened them a little bit. They have a sign on the wall inside their dressing room saying no excuses, and that goes to what they say too. They refuse to say that the goaltender beat us. They always say we didn't do enough to beat the goaltender. We didn't shoot high or whatever. So even though they refuse to come out and admit it, you kind of know that Hasek is the goaltender who gets on people. The one thing is, the 2 games that Buffalo's won in this series, Hasek has won for them. The 2 games that Buffalo has lost, he hasn't been a major factor. So they're coming out of here with a split in 4 games, knowing they can beat Hasek, and they won't let that destroy them. One other note, guys, tonight, before the game, Mike Ramsey, the Sabres assistant coach, who won a gold medal with the U.S. Olympic team in 1980, told his team about a game he played in 1983 as a member of the Sabres. They were tied 2-2 in a playoff series against Boston, and they went to the Boston Garden and lost Game 5, 9-0. He said it was the worst feeling we ever had. I've never really remembered being beaten that badly in a hockey game in the playoffs. But he told his team, in the playoffs, we had the luxury of forgetting about that. It's ancient history. It's over. And they came back in Game 6 at the odd, and they beat Boston in that series. That's the example he told his players about today, and that's the example they followed tonight. The only bad thing about that story is that the Sabres lost Game 7 in double overtime at the Boston Garden, but he says, I didn't tell them that part.
And I'm wondering, Elliotte, if there were any historians on the Sabre team that recalled back to the 83 series and went, but Mike, didn't you guys lose Game 7 in double overtime there?
I'm sure nobody asked.
Another thing I wanted to ask you was, and I think we talked about this in the previous series, where it just seems to me that, I remember when I started covering hockey, you had curmudgeons for coaches, and it's excluding Pat Burns. But, you had guys like, I don't want to mention too many names, but Scotty Bowman on his best days was not the nicest guy in the world, and the Maple Leafs had some guys. They weren't the nicest fellows, and now it just seems to me that with Ken Hitchcock and Lindy Ruff, and in the previous series with Pat Quinn and Bob Hartley, you've got coaches that are glib, that are articulate, that don't dress down a reporter for asking what might be considered a stupid question, and they give you honest answers, and that's got to be a lot easier, again, to do your job and to let the fans know what exactly is going on there. I don't remember getting this much information from coaches in previous years.
And you know what? Where that especially extends, Mark, is the injuries. You know, Ken Hitchcock was honest about Mike Modano's situation prior to Game 3, and he was honest about Brett Hull's situation prior to today's game. And, you know, he just says, look, we don't want the distraction hanging around our team. We're going to be honest about it and say what it really is. And you do see that. It goes to what I talked about earlier with the players. They realize the coaches, as much as the players, have a game to sell. And, you know, even though there's so much pressure on them, I think a lot of these coaches have learned to enjoy it. You know, the average shelf life of an NHL coach this year is around 4 years. You know, 4 years is tremendous seniority in today's game. And I think they've learned that even though there is pressure, you have to enjoy it because you may never get there again. And, you know, here's Lindy Ruff, who has already set a Sabres record for most victories in the playoffs by a head coach. He's got lots of reason to be happy. Here's a guy, Ken Hitchcock, who was, you know, he's a guy who lost his parents early. He was in a situation where he had a weight problem, up over 400 pounds, that some felt prevented him from making it to the NHL. You know, he's been through a lot, and now that he's finally earned his way here, he's determined to enjoy it. And you see that in the way he talks to the media, and who can blame him?
Elliotte, I know that we might have Randy Cunneyworth coming on the way. I think this is one of the great stories that the captain of the Ottawa Senators would be released from the team, would have to go to Rochester, where he had played. In fact, I believe is where he made his home for quite some time when he was in the Sabre organization. And then he sees Ottawa have an unbelievable season without him, with Alexei Yashin as the new captain. They get bounced in 4 games by the team that he's hoping to play for, Buffalo. And now he's back in the NHL, playing in the Stanley Cup Finals for Buffalo, while the team he was captain of last year, they've been on the sidelines for like 6 weeks. That's got to be a great story, and it just goes to show you the stick-to-itiveness of a veteran, a guy who was expected, given up for dead, asked to be a player assistant coach, and then is needed desperately in a situation in the playoffs and is called on and responds.
Well, he has done an absolutely unbelievable job all season long for the Sabres in terms of what he's done for both the minor and the major level team. He came up here a couple of times this year and he played very well. And then in the minors, he led them to the Calder Cup final where they were eliminated on Monday night. But when he came up and the series was over there, Lindy Ruff made it immediately clear, although he didn't come out and say it exactly, he hinted very strongly that Cunneyworth would be back in the lineup tonight. You know, at 37 years old, he's probably too young to be a Dallas Star, so this is the situation he fits in with so well. And his leadership tonight really showed. It wasn't as if he was a guy who only played 3 or 4 shifts like some of the other guys they've had. He was right in there. He played a regular shift with Rasmussen, and also he made 2 huge saves in net. And he joins us right now, Randy Cunneyworth. And Randy, on Monday night you're playing for the Calder Cup. Tonight you're playing for the Stanley Cup, and you only made about 24 less saves than Dominic Hasek.
Yeah, it's a great honor to have the opportunity to play for 2 cups in a single season. Some years you hope to play for 1 and don't get that chance, but we have a great group down there and a great group here, so to have this opportunity is a real honor.
Can you just talk about those saves you made, the instinctive nature to throw your body at the puck?
Yeah, well, I think all over the ice, guys were doing what they needed to do to get the job done, and that was just another situation that kind of came up. And actually, we were in a bit of trouble with them pressing so hard that we had to kind of get back to the center of the ice and kind of get out of trouble by deflecting or doing whatever we needed to get rid of the puck. But we got into trouble. That's a good team there, and they put a lot of pressure on us at that time. I was unaware of it at the time, but apparently Jay McKee was right behind me also in case it got by me. So that's the kind of effort it takes to get the job done.
Don't let him steal any credit for your save, though. Randy, there's a lot has been made about where you were about a year ago. There were some people who figured your career was over. Did you ever think that your last chance to come to the Stanley Cup final was done?
Well, obviously, in a situation like what I was in, you wonder if it's your last year. And I've been very fortunate injury-wise to continue to play. And I enjoyed my time in Ottawa, a great group of people there. We'd come a long way. The team had grown and had gone through a process. And I think Jacques Martin refers to it a lot when he talks to his younger players. And, Yash was coming of age. He needed to see, and he had earned the responsibility. So they've got a great group there, a great team. It's an exciting team to watch. I know the fans have really enjoyed supporting them, and there's no reason why they won't continue to support such a great team such as them.
But you could rather have your position here than you do in Ottawa. There's no question.
Without a doubt. I mean, whether it's here, there, or whatever, it's the only thing you could hope for is to get this far. I've never been in this situation, and to be a part of it is really a great thing. I'm just trying to enjoy it and have some fun with it.
All right, Randy, congratulations tonight.
Thank you.
That is Randy Cunneyworth of the Sabres, called back up from the American Hockey League after the Rochester Americans were knocked out of the final. Tonight he comes in, joins the fourth line, makes 2 huge saves. Really an inspirational story as Buffalo ties up the Stanley Cup final, gentlemen.
Thank you for calling us, gentlemen. Elliotte Friedman live in Buffalo. We'll get back to him in a couple minutes. First, we're going to take a timeout and come back with more of our live and now exclusive post-game coverage. I think we're the only ones left still live in Buffalo. Back with more right after this.